Had a score of 83. So did well on the Wonderlic. So I like him a lot. I think that if he's available there, or even if he's there maybe a little bit above, I could make the comment that that's somebody to take a look at there down at 32. All right, we'll continue this here in a second. I got to say this to you, man. We just had Merrill Reese on, and Garry Cobb's been covering. He's been covering the Eagles for a long time now. Former player with them, obviously. Brandon Graham, 15 years. Wow. Over 200 football games, most played in Eagle history. Had a bumpy start to his career. And as I said today, kind of personifies what it's about to play in Philly. They were calling him a bust. And by the end of it, they're calling him one of the most revered players in the history of the franchise. I wonder how Garry saw that, because to me, I saw a guy that was genuine. I'm not going to try to, again, put Garry on the spot here, but boy, I'll tell you, sometimes when you leave the sport, you kind of lose a little bit of where you're from. I'm not going to name any names to Garry. Somebody just retired like that. But this guy looks like he really does have the face of Philly on him. So let's get Fox 29's Garry Cobb in here and get his takeaway from that press conference today, which was very emotional. And I know you were down there. Did you feel it too, Garry, when you were down there?
Oh, without a doubt. Brandon is a guy who, like if they have a bad game, you go talk to Brandon. He will still talk. Other guys are in the shower, man, they're getting out of there. But Brandon has always been a guy who he would give you, some feedback as to what happened. He was hiding in the locker or hiding in the, like I said, in the shower and stuff. But and that's the thing. That's why really guys in the media like Brandon, because Brandon will talk. He will answer tough questions, and he doesn't start ducking away, because he had to face a lot of tough questions. As you were saying with his start, the start of his career, he was a number 1 draft pick, and it didn't take a couple years, and they were calling him a bust.
Hey, Garry, are you shocked that his career ended up the way it did with the start? And when you were covering him, I mean, when everything is said and done, you looking at where he started and where he ended, is it one of the more surprising stories in Eagle history?
Well, it was, I wouldn't say it's so much a surprise, because, he really just got better, which is, that's a surprise, meaning like he got better over time to where he's getting up to year 10, and he's playing better than he did at, year 4 and 5, That's what was really unusual, as the guy really worked, and he developed his game, and, he became more of a better pass rusher. He became, and he was an all-around player. He wasn't a guy that just running upfield. He's going to play the run too. And so Brandon was a team guy too, and personality-wise, he never shut up during the game and stuff. He's out there running his mouth the whole time. So, he was a personality.
So he was a trash talker. Talker.
Talking trash the whole time. They have, Fletcher Cox was over there, and Lane Johnson. Those guys played with him all this time. So they were over there for his retirement, and, and they know him, because sometimes Fletcher, he's on tape of saying, "Hey, man, shut up. Would you shut up a minute? Yop, just running his mouth." And he would sometimes he would get in the head of the team they were playing, because he would be calling guys out, and he would go after them right from the start. A lot of times Brandon was the captain, so he would go out there as one of the defensive captains at the start of the game and just start off just ripping a guy, going after him, saying, "Man, you're gonna stick up the place today," and everything. But the thing about Brandon, he's a lot of fun. He doesn't he talks, but he's always got a kind of a jovial type of the type of spirit where he's a jovial type of spirit where he's always in a good mood. He doesn't really have the ups and downs, and that's what you like him. And he's a big personality around here, because he goes around, same guy everywhere we run into him. Brandon is talking, and he's always got something to say, and it's entertaining. And he's really a favorite there, not just because of his play, but because of the personality he has. He's really beloved by a lot of the Eagles fans. And then the big play. In fact, I talked to them about this. The first Super Bowl they won, he made the play against Tom Brady, where he sacked him, knocked that ball out, and everything. And he was out there with his, this is after the Super Bowl, and people are, kind of, the guys are starting to go into the locker room. I said, man, Brandon, man, do you know how long they're going to remember this play you made, man? Your kids are going to be adults, and they're going to go, your daughter will be walking around. They go, your dad, man, made that play against Tom Brady, years ago. And it's a play they'll never forget, and people say it's the biggest defensive play in Eagles history because that helped them win that game. And, Brady was getting that look in his eye, and he was starting to march, and he was back, and he was looking somewhere on that play. And if he'd got rid of that ball, chances are, the Eagles probably would have came up with a big L, and it would have been a painful L too. But he made the play, got to Brady, knocked that ball out, and they recovered it, and it's something that Eagles fans will never forget. So that's one of the reasons they always will remember Brendan Graham.
I love that because, we saw Jalen Carter make that play in the Rams game. Yeah. And now you got a guy making a play here that fans will never forget. I mean, you could make the argument, like you said, that's got to be the biggest play in Super Bowl era, man, of any Philadelphia Eagle because of the ramifications and where it was, and two Michigan guys.
That's right. Two Michigan guys. That's right. That's right. And see, the thing is, that doggone Brady was getting that look again. He threw for 500 yards in the game.
He did.
The son of a gun is getting that look in his eye. I'm going, oh no! Somebody get to him. Somebody do something, because they were starting to march, and you're going like, oh boy, you wind up with on a highlight reel, But he was able to get to him. And after the game, Brandon still hadn't hit him. That that was the play that saved that game. And he says he goes back every now and then and go over there. And, whatever day it is, he could always go there, and take that tape out, and he comes out of there with a smile.
Hey, Garry, let me move on now to the John McMullen here has been labeling Howie's moves as the Temu shopper, where he's been shopping at Temu. Yeah. Angelo was on with us the other day. He hated it. Marcus Hayes was on yesterday. He loves what they're doing because they're preparing for the future. Yeah. Where are you in this? What you see them doing now? A lot of B moves here, especially at the edge rushing position.
Yes.
Tell me what you think here, what they're doing so far in rebuilding this team.
Well, we don't know just yet. We don't know, of course, how it's going to turn out. But I feel good about what they're doing. I think they've got some pass rushers coming off that corner, and they don't have to be great all the time because, the people they got behind them, they still got, some quality people in that secondary. And so you got young guys that are still maturing, and they're in the secondary. They got an outstanding secondary. So, they don't have to, if you see it in the Super Bowl game, they played well, the defensive line, but it's because he had to hold the ball. He didn't know where he's going with the ball. And so they're going to be playing that same style, where they're not just blitzing, because a lot of teams where they're coming at you, and so you got everybody out there one-on-one. They don't play a defense like that. They're not going to be, everybody's not going to be one-on-one. They're going to be playing a lot of zone and everything. But they're going to dare you to really go after them and try to throw the ball downfield, because you're probably going to end up throwing some interceptions because they do a great job in the secondary, and they don't really put the guys in too much of the time where they're one-on-one and they got no help. A lot of times they got too deep. They got those safeties back there. So if these guys can do a decent job rushing the passer, they're going to get opportunities to get to the quarterback because he's got to hold the ball, And so I think they're going to be fine. They don't have to be great. They just got to be guys who can beat their guy, let's say, in a couple seconds. And but they don't have to be just killing them where you got guys just dominating every play. Because they don't really go after where, like I said, you got out there and they're playing a single high all the time, and you got guys out there man to man all the time. That's not the way they play. They play more conservative. That's the way Vic. That's the way he plays, and it's worked.
Don't you agree, Gary, that, we were just talking that it's almost the same kind of questions we had a year ago this time.
That's
Who's
right.
going to play edge? Can
Yeah.
Milton play the left end position?
Mhm.
Who's going to play linebacker? The big question we all had last year, what's that linebacking core going to look like? Because
That's right.
we didn't know Nakobe was going to step up like he did. We didn't even know this kid Bond. Hell, he was brought here to be an outside pass rusher.
That's right.
So again, can Vic? The big question is, can Vic do it again? You think? I mean, isn't that
the guy's made me a
question?
believer, man? The guy has made me a believer because he's got a design to what he's doing. He's he will show a guy. He'll kind of give the quarterback a look, but that's not what they're in. They're playing something else. So the quarterback, it really puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He's got to be reading the right see the right defense. And sometimes they're going to show him a look, and that's not what they're in. They're in something else, and it'll make him be patient. Quarterback against him has got to be patient. He can't be greedy, or he's going to throw some picks. They're going to get a chance to pick some passes off. And the guys they got playing back there, they got some young kids who, these kids are still young, so they're going to get better. And I just think that they've got some outstanding, the draft that they had last year, they did an outstanding job in drafting the kids that they drafted. And they're going to be back there again this year. So I think they just need a decent pass rush, which I think they can get out of some of these guys that they're picking up. And if they play smart, they're going to be okay.
Let me throw a couple last ones at you here. Let me throw the snap counts out on guys who are supposed to step up this year.
Yeah.
Jalix Hunt, counting the playoffs in the Super Bowl, 321. There's your starting edge as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Huff, 298. He's probably more so your starter there. 298 snaps this year. Moro Ojomo, 440 snaps. He's got to take over for a guy who had 700 snaps. Tristan McCullum, that's the guy that Vic went to, wasn't Sidney Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He had 250 snaps, and he's got to take over for a guy who had over 1,100 snaps, and Gardner Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Keely Ringo is taking over for Slay, who had 900 snaps, and he had 125 snaps. So, I mean, do you feel a little bit concerned that the guys that you are asking to step in, I mean, is it about reps with you here? You believe that they're good players, but if you look at these numbers, I mean, even Moro Ojomo,
yeah,
I mean, there's just not a lot of playing time here considered when you're looking at some of these guys. Josh Sweat, 775.
yeah.
Milton Williams, 700.
Mm-hmm.
Slay, 900. Hell,
Yeah.
even Isaiah Rodgers, 450. Gardner Johnson, 1,119 snaps. BG, even a 311.
Mm-hmm.
Are you concerned about all these young guys not really having had a lot of playing time?
Well, to be totally honest, yes, I'm concerned about it. They're going to have to grow up. But one thing that I really have been impressed with is the job they did with maturing and teaching these young players, and they had all of them progressed as the season went along. That's what happened last year, because at the beginning of the year, it was like, hey, where did you guys get these kids? These kids are not going to stand up. But as the season went along, they all got better, and of course, you got to be doing a great job teaching that see all these kids getting better, get a better understanding of the defense. And so they come in this year where they played under that last year. So I expect them to progress even more. And, a guy like Kelly Ringo, the thing about him is kid's a great athlete, great size and everything. He just got to play smart football. He's good enough athlete to play on the corner because he can be physical. Any wide receivers that go out there, he is a specimen. The kid's about 6'1", 6'2", who can run. He's got long arms, so he can go up and jam. And we're going to see. He's going to have to progress because he hasn't been in this situation before. So hopefully they'll be able to have him do the same maturation that we saw out of the guys they had in there last year. So he's going to be stepping in there probably on Slay's side. He'll be taking over. He's got the athleticism to play it. Whole thing is, does he up here? You're playing smart football, and you're not out there gambling. And the thing about Vic, as I said, Fangio plays a defense where he doesn't have these guys on the island a lot, So they're not going to be out there where they're just out there by themselves. A lot of times they got help over the top, and they've got help inside. So we'll see. They did a great job last year, as I said. The secondary at the beginning of the season, you're just saying, man, there's no way they're going to make it. By the end of the season, they were the best in the league.
And they were still getting better. I mean,
that's right.
They were still getting better. Gary, I was listening to Josh Sweats, and this goes to Vic.
Yeah.
Maybe tell me he's just like an old school guy. Josh said this in the presser. He goes, Vic came to me before the Super Bowl, and before we went out of the tunnel, he looked at me and said, you have no responsibility except one thing. I don't care about the run. I don't care about anything. Hit the quarterback. Just go hit the quarterback.
Yep.
I don't care about anything else. You four guys have to hit the quarterback. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that Pat Riley talks about back in the day, will and go hit the guy and all that. I mean, there's so many guys that are all about the analytics. It's really awesome to watch an old school guy applying all of today's things with all the metrics you have and him being able to, is it that he just has a better feel than what modern day guys have? I mean, Sean Desai was not that bad, but he was seemingly lost. And Patricia was lost.
Yeah.
And this guy just said, go hit the quarterback.
I mean, he's able to put together week after week. He puts together a game plan that takes away something that they want. And he'll give them he gives the quarterback different looks. And he's able to do that week after week. And they're able to really keep the quarterbacks to where you got mature, veteran quarterbacks. It's like they make them look like rookies because he's giving them a certain look and he's taking things away that they want to do. And that's one thing he does is he's going to take away what they like to do best. So he'll take that away and see if they can make the adjustment. And we've seen that most of the guys in the league can't make the adjustment against him. And he does a great job of that. And as I said, with some of the kids they've had back there, those kids were rookies last year. They played. I mean, they went all the way to a Super Bowl last year. So, you could expect them to probably come out and they're more seasoned. And but they're making some changes now. These young guys, they're going to be able to keep them fresh with keeping people fresh up front, rushing the passer. But I think this really gives them a chance that we'll see them kind of grow into that defense again this year, like they did a year ago.
All right, you know me, I'm a shit starter, so
yeah,
I gotta throw this at you here.
What you got?
No mention of Nick Sirianni in the 40-minute presser. I just, me, I always find something stupid. I mean, hey, I text Angelo just a couple minutes ago, and I told him, I go, a 40-plus minute presser. He thanked everybody from the soup kitchen person to everybody that's there at NovaCare, but he didn't think anything about Nick. I don't know. Maybe I'm just once again just trying to start a trash can on fire here.
You make a good point. I guess
he didn't say one word about him.
Hey, Nick was there too. Nick was there.
He was in the front row.
Yeah, Nick was right up there and everything. I know that Brandon was just winging it some, so I can understand. But he got a chance to say some things, with some of the interviews afterwards and everything. So he say how much he loved Nick because Nick was good to him. I mean, Nick has been good to him. So I don't think he has anything. Brandon seems to get along with everybody. So. But you make a good point. You do make a good point. He didn't, he got Andy Reid in there. He took care of Andy Reid.
He got Doug.
Got Doug in there. Yeah. We didn't hear. Yeah.
The only two coaches he didn't mention were Chip and Nick. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean.
Yeah, and Chip had moved him to linebacker, so he really didn't have love lost for Chip.
He mentioned Swartz. He mentioned Jim Schwartz.
He got Schwartz in there, yeah.
He said Trent Cole. Funny, I didn't hear any Nick Sirianni name.
Hey.
I just, Nick said you got to have a Brandon Graham in the locker room. And he was like, hey, Billy Job Joe parks my car out here at the NovaCare, man.
I'm gonna say something to Brandon when I see him though. Hey, man, what's up? Why you freeze Nick out like that, man?
Oh my God.
But Nick was there. I'm sure he, they get along well. So, I think it was just a mishap, a mistake, but
yeah.
But you are right. You're right. I now that you mentioned it, he didn't get Nick in there, yeah?
Yeah, there you go.
See, you done started a fire.
No, man. I just, me. I notice everything. I don't know, man. Unfortunately, my wife would say I know all the stupid shit.
Well,
hey,
man, the thing is, Brandon's going to be up there all the time. He's going to take some kind of position with the Eagles, so he'll be up there. So he'll have a chance to talk to Nick about it.
I guess so. All right.
Hey, if Nick keeps winning Super Bowls, he doesn't have to worry about anything.
No, I have a statue. Don't tear that statue of Doug down. He wins another one.
That's right.
That's right. You him right there. That's
you better believe it. Yeah.
All right, Gary. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, my friend.
Hey, have a good one.
You got it. Yeah, let me. Gary's right. Hold on. Let me write that down. Got to make sure I tweet this out. Brandon Graham mentioned Jim Schwartz, Trent Cole, Doug Peterson, Andy Reid, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, the Slurpee Machine guy, and no Nick Sirianni. I don't know. Is that just me being me? Where's Nick's name? What happened? Guys thanking everybody. Parked the cars. Made the food. He said, everyone knows I love to eat. No Nick. And then after, I guess people are now posting over on my ex. They're talking, like I guess that, he mentioned Nick after the fact. Somebody probably told him, how come you forgot Nick? Nick's in the front row. Funny, though. I saw Nick at a Sixer game, and Steph Curry dissed him, too. He went on, I forget who was with Sirianni at a Sixer game, and he was shaking his hand. I forget, was it AJ? And there's Nick standing there like, what happened? Nobody knows who Nick Sirianni is. Everybody knows who Howie. They know Jeffrey Lurie. Who's Nick? Who's Nick Sirianni? He's the tuba player in the front row. Told you he's not the orchestra guy. He's not the band leader. He's not the maestro. He's the guy who plays the tuba. How come he didn't thank him? How come I'm the only one that notices shit like that? I don't. You know what? Hey, let me tell you what Angelo texted me back. So I text him. I said, Angelo, did you watch that presser? He goes, yeah. I go, what'd you notice? He goes, what? What did you notice? Because I wanted to. And look what he said. He goes like this. I go, 40-minute retirement speech by Brandon Graham. No mention of Sirianni. You know what Angelo said? Sounds about right. Sounds about right. I don't know. Why come? Everyone thinks that I start trouble. I don't know. It was a great speech. No Nick Sirianni. I don't know. Anything to it. How come he didn't thank him? I'm a hater. Wait a minute here. How can I be a hater? I'm asking a question. How come he didn't thank the coach? He just won a Super Bowl a month and a half ago with him. He didn't say, hey, thanks, Nick. I appreciate you for keeping me on the ball team, even though I'm 35 years old. And, thanks a lot, man. It was fun playing for you. Nothing. It was just like, yeah, Doug was great. Andy was great. Jim Schwartz was great. Trent Cole was great. No mention is Nick Sirianni. Nothing. Hey, you would think in a moment like that, you remember everybody. What do you mean I'm wrong? But it was a great speech. I'm not blowing it up. How come he didn't thank Nick? Hey, I want to thank everybody. I thought stuff with his wife. The speech was sensational. I just ask, you're listening, you're intent. No, I'm not, Sue. No, I'm not. I'm just Stu. All I'm asking is, how come he didn't?